Hey there, good day. Today, we are beginning a journey to build competence skill in Excel. Where the world is going now, skills in using Excel is so important that it's needed in every sector of work. My name is Francis Boache. I am an information technologist and data analyst. I will be guiding you through this journey. So relax and let's cruise on this learning journey. You will love it, I promise you. So we will start with the content. Today we are going to look at the introduction of Excel and also data entering and formatting, basic formulas and functions, sorting and filtering data, basic charts and visualization, basic data validation, and also introduction to pivot table. This one will be the basics. As we already talked about, Excel is powerful. It's a powerful worksheet that is widely used for organizations, analyzing and visualizing data, and it's also essential for various tasks, from simple math calculations to big and complex data analysis. And Excel is commonly used in the finance section, creating budgets, tracking expenses, and also analyzing financial data. Also, we the data analysts, we use Excel for data analysis by organizing large data sets, performing calculation and generating reports, and also in academics, conducting research, analyzing statistical data, and creating presentations. In business too, it's used to manage inventory, track sales, and also forecast trending. Now let's move to the introduction, where we are going to explore much on the interface of the Excel, being the ribbon, the worksheets, the rows and columns, and also the cells. And we will also talk about the basics, navigation, and shortcuts. So now let's move on to how Excel looks like. This is how the Excel interface looks like. So we can see all the menus on this side, which is very useful, and also with all these, the fonts, the alignment, the number section, the style section, cells formatting, and the editing, all are needed and useful in the Excel journey. So now this is how to save the workbook you work on. So you start by clicking on the file. This is the file. You start by clicking here and you click on save as. This is for when you are entering a new data set you've never saved. And you come to the browse section. You enter the preferred file name that you want to use on the Excel, and you then save it to wherever you want to save your work. So now let's move on to the next session, that is the data entry and formatting. So here we are going to look on how we will enter the data and also edit the data. We will also look on how to format each cell, being the number, the text, the dates, colors, and also borders. And we will look at the conditional formatting for basic insights. So data entry, simply type your data into cells. Excel automatically adjusts the cells, and also based on what you input. So this is a sample of a data entered into the Excel sheet. This is a sample of data entered into the Excel sheet. Later on, we will go on for some practice soon. And also we have the formatting. After the entry, we format the data to suit how we want the data to look like. So this one, with the formatting, we have the alignment, which is control how text is positioned, like the position of the text. The position of the text, whether you want it to be on the left side in the cell or the right side in the cell, center, top, or middle. And you also have the number format. choose from various formats like currency, percentage, date, time, and more. That's the number format. The format type you want your currency or your percentage to be in. And also we have the font and the color. Customize the appearance of your text. Yes. And also the border and the shading. Or add visual elements to cell for better organization. So this one, it's mainly on the cell, the selected cell in which you are formatting. So this is a sample of how a data being formatted looks like. Okay, so before we come to the basic formulas and functions, let's go and check a sample. So this is my data over here, and it's raw. Let me say it needs to be formatted and it needs to look good. So here you can select the whole data and you make it something nice. You can choose to format as table and we select a color of our choice. Sorry. Format as a table, select the color of our choice. Let's say with this heading, we would want the font size to be bigger, so we highlight it and we select the type, the number of the size we want it to be, and we'll stretch it a little bit so that it suits each other. Okay, this is fine. As we were talking about the border lines, we come under the font and select whether we want border lines or no border lines. So we select all border lines. And we can also select how thick it should be. Okay, so this is our data and we will be trying to maneuver around it and find and see how we can format it. So we can select the whole table so that we use this format as table to format the data, or if not, we can go choose our own manual way to format the data. So here we could choose a larger font size like 16 as normal, and we'll space them a little bit. Okay, that's fine. And if you would like to align the top content to be say centered or on the right or on the left, we could select it from here, the align section. For now, let's put them in the middle, and we can change the font color to, let's say, green or blue. Let's take blue. And now let's move on to the main table. You can select border lines for them. Actually, Excel does not show you border lines when you print data. You can give them a thick border line so we see them over here, or we select it and we give them all border, or we can select the data we are working with and we will give it an all border so that it fills the whole section. So I think this design is fine. Or you can insert a top row here. You can insert a top row so that anything you missed, let's say you missed the name of the company or whatsoever, you'll be able to add over here. So now let's move on. So now we are going to look at the basic formulas and functions, reading the arithmetic operations, which is the addition, the subtraction, the multiplication, and also the division used for making basic maths. And also we'll use the basic functions such as the sum, average, mean, max, count, and COUNTA. Also we use the autofill and the flash fill. So we'll move on. Let's find out the essential functions and the formulas. So all these here are formulas in the Excel. So you can choose to use the sum to add up a total amount of objects by 3 ways. So it's either you use the sum and you give the range of the cell, whereby the cell with this one the cell range from A1 to A5. And also you can use the same sum, but this time you add by the cells. Or you add with numbers. It understands numbers, so it will add up. But let's say if a word or a letter is being added to where the 48 is, it will bring us error. So as we practice it, we will go through most of the formulas so that we understand what we are learning well. So let's move on to our Excel sheets. So let's say now we want to calculate the amount of salary each year the company is paying to its workers. So here in the professional way, we write total. And we will write sum into brackets. You either highlight this so what we will do is we will enter this cell. This particular cell is where the amount starts from. So let me say this is the first employee on the list and he's taking $45,000 in cell D3. So we write cell D3, and we'll use the semicolon and you write cell D22. We will write equal to sum. So as you start to write the sum, you will see that all the Excel formulas will be showing. So for you not making a mistake, you can select this sum and then you open your brackets and you can highlight all the salary amount the company pays, and then at the back of the last cell you put your bracket and you press enter. So it gives us a total amount of $1,134,500 each year. Let me say each year. Let's assume this is the pay of the people each and every year. So this is the sum formula that we've used. So you can see it here that we use the formula, or we can choose to use the normal way, which will be equal to sum. Let's say we are selecting the IT employees in this, so we will choose the third cell, which is the third employee in the cell, which is the cell D6. So we will punch in D6 and then we will add plus cell D9 and then add cell D13. We add it and to cell D18. I think that's all. So then we'll bring our closing bracket and we'll hit enter. So it shows us that the company pays $221,000 each year to the IT employees in the company. So this is for the IT sector, and this one is for the entire firm. So then we can move on and look at another formula. You can use the subtract formula. So let's say equal to, and we'll bring our brackets, and let's say we want to subtract the IT sector salary from the entire firm. So we will enter. For simple calculation, let's select the cell in which we've already calculated the entire firm's money in. So that's cell D24. So then you will subtract it. You will subtract it from cell D26, in which whereby it's the salary of the IT sector. So then we'll bring our closing bracket and then enter. So subtracting the IT sector salary from the whole firm, this is the actual amount the company is paying to the workers, excluding the IT sector. So this one is the subtracting formula. And note, for Excel to know that you are entering a formula, you have to start with an equal to, or else it wouldn't work. So let's say we enter 45 minus 35. It doesn't know what we are doing, but the moment we add an equal to sign, it knows what we are doing. It knows whatever we are doing. The moment you add an equal to sign, so let's say 12 plus 15, it knows what you are doing. So anytime you would want to enter a formula, you have to start with an equal to, or else it wouldn't know what you are doing. So now let's continue to finding the mean and the maximum of, let's say, salary, or let's try with the age. Let's try with the age. So let's say, so we will start by equal to the max of, so the maximum age of, then we highlight the range. So it gives us an age of 40 years, which means the oldest person in the firm is 40 years old. So let's say if you have a data consisting of, with a total sample size of 1,000, you can't glance through and find the oldest age, so you have to set in a formula to get the age correct. And also we can find the minimum age, like the lowest of them all. So we go min and we open our bracket, we select the range, close the bracket, enter, and you can see the lowest person with the lowest age there is 26. It's 26. Now let's look at another formula. Let's look at another formula, which is the date. Like writing the date. If you don't want to stress yourself and to be checking what's the date of today, you can simply enter a formula. Let's say today, and you bring all your brackets, and boom, today is the 3rd of March 2025. With the formatting, you can come here and choose the date format. So we are going with the long, so we can see this is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. So we've gotten the long dates format, and it's simple. And also we can make a count of whatever item is in a table. So let's say, so we can use the count feature to count the number of, let's say, valid, and also let's say the number of valid data we have. So especially for the quantitative, this side is the age. Let's use the age for example. So we want to count the number of age we had, the number of age, like the total number, not like the summing up of all their ages. So we want to find out the valid. So we can see here 2 of the ages are gone, but the total number of people here are 20. So we will use the formula equal to count, and we open our bracket, we select the range, and we close it. So it gives us 18. And with this formula, at any moment in time, if a change is being made in this category, the age category, it changes. So let's say right now we are having 18 since 2 of them are gone. So let's say we enter, we get the age of the person and it's 28. We move, we can see that it's changed from 18 to 19. And also let's add the last one, let's say 27 again, and we can see we have 20, the 20 here. Yes. So now let's move on to our presentation. So as we move along, we will be using these formulas in our learnings. Okay, so now let's move on to sorting and filtering data. Okay, so for sorting data, we will be able to sort data in ascending and descending by multiple columns. And also we will look into the basic filtering using auto filter. So here we can see that sorting arrange data in ascending or descending order based on specific columns, and also filtering display only the rows that meet certain criteria. So we will look at them shortly. We are here to use the sorting and the filtering in Excel. So let's say, okay, so for the sorting section, let's say after taking the data, this was our results, like this was how their names were arranged. So then we come to the sort, and we also we want them to sort from A to Z, the A to Z. Okay, so now we have the correct alphabetical order of the data. So you can see them over here. It's arranged them well and properly. And also we can use the filtering. Let's say with the cars which the employee drives, we can filter it with using the same sort and filter option. Let's say after pressing on the filter, you see this arrow over here. If you want to filter, let's say you want to know the number of employees, or you want to get only the employees who drive only the Toyota Camry, so you deselect all. Let's say you deselect all and select, let's say, Toyota Camry. You select OK. So this is it has filtered your data and giving you the number of employees, or showing you the names, and it has now given you the employees who drives Toyota Camry. But your data is not gone yet. All the data you've collected is not gone yet. You can now come back to the filter section, and you can now select all. So now you can see your data is back. So now let's move on to the presentation. With the basic cell formatting, this one entails on the borders, let's say the outline cell individually or as a group. We also look at colors, where we fill cells with colors or to highlight or differentiate data. And we will look at the number format, as we've already did some with the date. Yes, so we will look at that shortly. Okay, so now here, let's say we want to make some aspects of this specific so that it differentiates itself from the whole data. So let's say we would want to select the highest paid personnel in the firm. So we will select the cell, and also come to this side and select a style for this person, or we can choose to use a border. Can choose to change the border so that it will be able to differentiate itself from the others. So we formatted the person with the highest salary in the firm, or we can choose to use the currency from the currency format. So you can choose the accounting, or you can choose the currency. Same is applied. So with the raw data, it's just this raw figure without the 00, where it will indicate, or Excel knows that once this is a currency, but Excel does not know that this is a currency. This is a currency. All Excel knows that this is a currency. This is like the real money. So for Excel to get to know all these are currencies, we would have to select a number format. So we will select this currency. Yes. So at the end of it, you see there will be 00.00 indicating that yes, all these are currencies. All these are currencies. Okay. So now let's move on to the next item, which is the basic chart and visualization. In Excel, you will be able to make charts and also visualize them, like make them presentable and visual, like people could see through what you've done. Okay, so for the practice, let's take, for instance, a section, like a category, let's say cars. So we want to know the which car the employees buys most. So we will represent that on a chart. You can choose to use a recommended chart, which is this one, or you can choose to use your own chart. Okay, so now this is the results from the chart. So we could see that the most purchased vehicle is the Honda Civic, which employees have the Honda Civic, and the least car used is the Honda Accord, which is one person. So now you can visualize your chart by designing it. So here you can select a design of your choice. Let's say this design looks clean to you. You can use it, and also you can minimize or maximize it. Also, there are advanced design options which will be talked through later, but for now, sample of how the chart and the visualization is. So with this section 2, you can see that you can sort out, you can choose between, let's say, some selected cars which the employees mostly drives. So let's first select these 3 and we will see. Yes, so the table have changed, and we can see that yes, the Civic is still on top and the CRV is on 3rd. The number of CRV in the company is 3, and the number of Benz in the company is 2. Okay, so with the charts, you will be able to use bar charts, the line, you could be able to use the pie chart, and also the scatter plots. Depending on what you are doing and what you are looking for, you select your charts carefully. So this is what we talked through here. Bye bye. So now let's move on to creating and customizing the chart. With the customization of the chart, we are now done with the visualization. So now the customization of the chart, we will we have the labels, the formatting, and the data series. So with the labels, we will be able to add title. We'll be able to add title. For instance, this is a title, which is termed under the customization. This is the title. In data labels, you could label the data or the data set in the chart. Yes. Now let's look at the basic data validation. With the basic data validation, we will be looking at creating Dropbox list and also restricting data entry. Example, numbers only. A Dropbox list in Excel allows users to select a value from predefined list, ensuring consistency and reducing error. It is created using the data visualization tool. So we will use the data visualization tool to create a drop-down list. For example, this image here shows how a drop list works, and this is the steps to get your drop list. So we can see, to get work done quickly, let's say you could have, let's say, five lists here from the type section. So you could select, rather than entering, let's say I'm another administrator, you enter another administrator. With the drop list, work is more faster and easier. Okay, so with the data validation, let's say we have another category here. Let's say school. Let's say the school the person attended. So once I enter it into this row, it automatically formats it to match the row. And now let's after selecting the data over here, we'll go to the data validation, and you also select the data validation. Okay, so the input message. So on the settings section, you will select list, and the list, we could enter our own list, or if we have a source on the data sheet, we could enter it here. So let's say okay, so now after selecting the whole cells, like in this format, the whole range, so now after selecting the whole range, we will use the data validation this side, and we will enter the schools, whether 10, 20, and we will select OK. But for now, let's input a message like the school, say school, and an error message. Stop. Okay. So once you highlight or this is the pointer selects on the cell, you see the school as a title and also school being the university. Okay. Whenever you try entering anything that's not in the list, you see an error message. This value does not match the validation restriction defined for this cell. Continue, yes or no, or no. So then we are going to select the right information. So then we are going to select the right information, and this will be applied to all the cells you've selected. So you can select a whole cell with the category that you want to make the drop down list for. So now, after looking at the drop down list and the validation tools, and also ensuring consistency and reducing errors, we will now move to the data. I think we've looked at this also. So now the data entry restriction in Excel limits the data type user can enter in the cell using data validation as shown earlier. It ensures accuracy by allowing only specific values such as numbers, dates, or predefined lists, as we use the schools as examples. Yes, so we've covered this part also. Now let's move on to the introduction of pivot tables. So now we are going to create pivot tables, a simple one, so that we could rearrange data using the drop and drag box. A pivot table is a powerful tool for summarizing and analyzing large data sets, whereby creating quickly group and aggregate data based on different criteria. Customization. We add, remove, or rearrange fields to get different views of the data. And also calculation. Perform calculation like sum, average, counts, and more within the pivot table. So this is a sample of a pivot table of the pivot table. So let's look at let's practice and familiarize ourselves with the pivot table. So let's say we select this whole data and we come to the insert section. We can let Excel recommend us a pivot table, or we will be able to create our own pivot table from the range we've selected. So now let's let Excel provide us with a pivot table. So let's say this will help. Once you want a new pivot table, it sends you to a different worksheet or a different web page, whereby it's going to take you from where the data is. So now we can see that our pivot table has been created, whereby it's showing. Let's make it quite bigger. Whereby it's showing the amount each department receives from the firm. So we can see from the finance, from the HR, from the IT, the marketing, and also the sales, which the pivot table will grant us a grand total, which sums all of the, which gives us a grand total of the money. So we can see this is how Excel designs the pivot table. So we can see it has taken the department and also the salary, the sum of salary. So if you want a sum of something, you put it in the values box, and if you want and also the main thing you would want the values would be on the row section, so you can maneuver around with the pivot table. You can see we could add this h to the column to get to know a different set of data questions, or we could see by maneuvering around the pivot table with the ambition of knowing what you want to find. You can see it has created another table, but this time it gives us the age of the person in the finance department. But the age of the person in the finance department and the amount of salary that person takes. This is what we want to know, that this person from the IT department, what is he or she gaining each and every year. So now we would like to continue. So with the Excel, you have to familiarize yourself with all these managing multiple worksheets in a workbook. So wherever you open the Excel, you have to bear in mind that you've opened a workbook, but the sheet is this. But the sheet is the ones we have indicated. There is names on the July, the August, the September. Those are the sheets in a workbook. Yes. So now, with more features, whereby we can create and rename, we add new pages into the worksheet and give them names. So with this one, it wouldn't come as September, but it would come as, let's say, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4, and you rename it to suit your style of naming. And also navigation, whereby you jump between pages, and the group of pages, you treat multiple pages as one for fast changes, and you can also link pages. You can connect data between pages for automatic updates, and also combine data, bring data from different pages together, and also the print option, choose which page to print and how. All these features are on the Excel we will explore more on. Now to the conclusion. As we all know, how Excel is powerful in calculation and on steroids. It's a tool that helps you to organize, analyze, and visualize data in a clear and efficient way. So the key features of Excel, which we all know, is for calculating, for data analysis, and visualization also. It organizes and also keep track of information in a structured manner. So this is where I would like to bring the beginning of Excel's journey. So let's meet for the intermediate again soon. Thank you very much.